This video will help you to improve your speaking skills for the IELTS test. Before you start watching this video, I just want to give you some instructions on what you should do while you're watching this video. In this video, you will see a real IELTS speaking test, and this video is divided into two parts. In the first part, there will be examiner asking some questions from examinee. After the examiner asks a question, there will be a green screen popping up where you have to pause the video and try to answer to that question. After you answer to the question yourself, then you can proceed to the next question. So you're going to do the same activity until all the questions finish. After you finish all the questions, then you will proceed to the second part of the test where you will hear the answers of the examinee. Then you can compare your answer to the examinee's answer. At the same time, I want to recommend you to record all your answers. Later, you can check it yourself or you can check it with your teacher. So, I wish you good luck. Please enjoy watching the video. By the way, I nearly forgot, this video also contains a bonus at the end, so don't forget to watch it until the end.
Hello. Please take a seat.
Thanks.
This is the speaking test for the International English Language Testing System held on the 25th of March at the Kent Institute. The candidate is Faris Ahmadi, candidate number 012458, and the examiner is Jane Smith, number 555687. Good afternoon.
Hello.
My name is Jane Smith. What's your name?
My name's Faris Ahmadi. You can call me Faris.
Can I see your identification, please,
Sure.
Faris?
You are.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, in part one of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. First, do you work or are you a student? What are you studying? Why did you choose to study this subject? Have you made many friends on the course?
Yes.
Let's talk about keeping fit and healthy now. What do you do to stay healthy? Do you do any exercise? How active were you when you were a child? How important is it for children to be active? Now, let's talk about the weather. What kind of weather do you like best? Have you noticed any changes in the weather recently in your country? What do you like to do in winter? Thank you. That brings us to the end of part one. Now, Faris, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you begin, you have 1 minute to think about what you want to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. You can make some notes on this paper. Here is your topic. I'd like you to talk about a building that you like.
Thank you.
All right. Now remember you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I interrupt you. I'll tell you when the time is up. You can begin now. Thank you. Do other people like this building?
Yes, everyone likes it. It's a real landmark of the city now.
Thank you. Can I have the task card and the paper and pencil, please?
Yes, sure. Here you go.
Thank you. So, we've been talking about a building you like, and I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. First of all, let's consider traditional and modern buildings. Do you think it's important for the government to preserve traditional buildings, or should the money be spent on essential services? And is it possible for a government to fund all of these things? Many people like living in modern buildings. Why do you think that is? What do you think homes of the future will look like? Well, thank you very much. That's the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
Hello. Please take a seat.
Thanks.
This is the speaking test for the International English Language Testing System, held on the 25th of March at the Kent Institute. The candidate is Faris Ahmadi, candidate number 012458, and the examiner is Jane Smith, number 555687. Good afternoon.
Hello.
My name is Jane Smith. What's your name?
My name's Faris Ahmadi. You can call me Faris.
Can I see your identification, please,
Sure.
Faris?
You are.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, in part 1 of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. First, do you work or are you a student?
I'm a student.
What are you studying?
I'm studying engineering.
Why did you choose to study this subject?
I don't really know. My parents thought it would be a good thing for me to study, and I did well at mathematics at high school, so I thought it might be interesting. It's okay, I guess.
Have you made many friends on the course?
Yes. Yes, I have. There are some great guys on my course. Sometimes we get together and study after class and drink coffee, chat, that kind of thing.
Let's talk about keeping fit and healthy now. What do you do to stay healthy?
Well, I try to watch my diet. I try to eat healthy foods, you know, fruit, vegetables, but I really love meat too. I think my diet is pretty good.
Do you do any exercise?
Yeah, sure, from time to time.
What kind?
Well, I try to go to the gym once or twice a week, and I like going for walks in the evening when it's a bit cooler.
How active were you when you were a child?
Oh, very active, yes. I was always playing with my brothers, fighting, wrestling, playing games, you know.
How important is it for children to be active?
Oh, very important. Nowadays kids just play video games all day. They don't get enough exercise, in my opinion. They're just couch potatoes.
Now, let's talk about the weather. What kind of weather do you like best?
Rainy weather, definitely.
Why?
Oh, because it rarely rains in my region. So when it does, everyone is really happy. And it cools down the temperature too.
Have you noticed any changes in the weather recently in your country?
Any changes, like climate change? Oh, well, I guess it's changed a little. People say it's hotter than it used to be, but I'm not really sure if that's true.
What do you like to do in winter?
Well, the winter in my country is quite short. It's nice to get outside and go for a walk. You can in winter because it's not so hot. I sometimes go horse riding too. I belong to a club and I go there a bit at weekends. That's really fun.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of part 1. Now, Faris, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you begin, you have 1 minute to think about what you want to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. You can make some notes on this paper. Here is your topic. I'd like you to talk about a building that you like.
Thank you.
All right. Now remember you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I interrupt you. I'll tell you when the time is up. You can begin now.
Okay. I'm going to tell you about a building I know quite well, and I really like it, actually. Actually, it's in my hometown, Abu Dhabi, and the name of this building is the Capital Gate building. It's quite a new building, only a few years old, but already it has become an important landmark because it's really unusual in its appearance. The first thing you notice is that it leans over to one side. It's like the building in Italy, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Only that building is leaning because it's too old. This one is leaning because it was the architect's design. Actually, it's very strange. It's a skyscraper. It's very modern looking, a really cutting edge design, you know. It doesn't really have any sharp corners. It has lots of curves. And it is all glass on the outside. Okay, moving on to what it's used for. Well, there is a hotel inside and maybe some apartments too. And I think there are some offices as well, but I'm not exactly sure. Finally, the reason why I like it is, well, I guess it's because it's unique. It's special. Also, I'm interested in architecture, especially modern architecture. And I'm quite fascinated by how the building stays up. I mean, it doesn't fall down. I think it's because the building has a steel frame, and I heard it also has very deep foundations. So, if you visit my city, I'd recommend that you see this building. That's all, actually.
Thank you. Do other people like this building?
Yes, everyone likes it. It's a real landmark of the city now.
Thank you. Can I have the task card and the paper and pencil, please?
Yes, sure. Here you go.
Thank you. So we've been talking about a building you like, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. First of all, let's consider traditional and modern buildings. Do you think it's important for the government to preserve traditional buildings, or should the money be spent on essential services such as hospitals and schools?
That's a tricky question to answer. Which one is more important? Well, I'd have to say both. First of all, of course, the government should try to maintain traditional buildings. They are our heritage, and they connect us to a past in a way that looking at a photo in a book cannot. Personally, I don't enjoy looking around old buildings such as castles, but I know in some countries tourists flock to these type of buildings, so I can imagine that many people in those countries want to see them preserved. But on the other hand, we shouldn't be spending so much money on them that we have poor health and education service. Educating our children and treating sick people has to be a priority too.
And is it possible for a government to fund all of these things?
Can I just check what you mean by fund? Is that pay for?
Yes, pay for. Can a government pay for all of these things?
I suppose it depends on the country. My country is fairly wealthy, so yes, I think it can afford public services and money for preservation. But in poorer countries, I can imagine that the majority of people there would want better schools and good hospitals.
Many people like living in modern buildings. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think I'm one of them. Living in a modern home is much easier on the whole, I think. You don't have to worry about what's the word? Fixing them up all the time. Renovating. That's it. You don't have to renovate new homes. They're in perfect condition. And this probably saves a lot of money. I imagine repairing and maintaining a home is very costly. And another reason, of course, is that modern homes have all the mod cons, modern conveniences. And I think most people these days are looking for ways to save time.
What do you think homes of the future will look like?
Homes in the future? That's a good question. Let me see. If you mean 10 or 20 years from now, I don't think they will be that different to what we have now. But perhaps 50 years from now, I think it's likely that we'll see some changes. I think cities will get denser than they are now. I mean, there'll be more people living in the same area. To cope with this, I think homes will get smaller and perhaps taller in order to fit more people in. In the major cities in my country, this has already happened. But 50 years from now, I think most cities and towns will be the same. Very dense.
Well, thank you very much. That's the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
I'm going to divide every single speech into pieces in order to send it to you. So if you want to improve your skills, it's better for you to listen to your own speech, the one which is recorded. So I guess that's going to be helpful also. Manira, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Great. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get started. My name is Kazım. I'm going to be your examiner today. Let me know your name, please.
And my name is Munira, and my surname is Haydarova.
Great. Munira, how can I call you?
You can call me just Munira.
Great. Munira, are you a student or do you work?
In current days, I'm a student. I'm going to apply university.
All right. And which university are you going to apply?
Um, to, I'm going to apply to madrasa,
And why?
and it's called and why? Because I'm interested in religion. Yeah.
Okay. Um, where do you live?
In current days, I live in the capital of Uzbekistan. It's Tashkent.
Mhm. Is your city big?
Yeah, definitely. Our hometown is very big, and our population also more than other uh, regions.
Hmm. And how has it changed during past 10 years?
Um, I can say that for, 5 years ago we had not lots of spectacular sceneries and entertainment places, but nowadays there are lots of attractive places, so it has changed.
So it has changed a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Now let's talk about your friends. Okay. Are your
To
friends
tell the
most?
truth, I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah. What? Yeah, go ahead. What did you want to say?
To tell the truth, I'm so sociable girl, so I've got lots of friends, and I can communicate with anyone I want.
That's great. All right. So here is my first question related to friends. Are your friends mostly your age or different ages?
As I mentioned now, I can keep in touch anyone. So my my friends are different ages.
Hmm. Okay. And do you usually see your friends during the week or at the weekends?
In current days, I've got lots of tasks for this reason. I hang out with them only weekends.
Only on weekends. Uh-huh. And the last time you saw your friends, what did you do together?
Can you repeat your question?
Uh-huh. The last time you saw your friends, what did you do together?
Um, 1 week ago, we walked at the street and read we read books and discuss discuss this book.
And in what ways are your friends important to you?
My friends are my closest, so they are the most um, important people in my life, and they can do everything for me if if they have an opportunity for this.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you very much. Now we have to go to part two. I'm going to give you a card with a question. You will have 1 minute to prepare,
Mhm.
and then you will have to speak for 2 minutes. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to send the topic to you by Telegram. Here you are. Um, I'm going to send it to the group. Did you get it?
Yeah.
That's great. I will give you 1 minute to prepare, and well, then after 1 minute, you have to speak for 2 minutes. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Go
I'm
ahead.
ready.
That's great. Go ahead. And for those who are sitting in the background, who are listening to us, please do the same activity. The part two question is describe an interesting historic place. You should say what it is, where it is located, what can you see there these days, and explain why this place is interesting. Okay, so I have sent the question to the group, so you guys can prepare your answers also, and try to answer this question within 2 minutes. I will, yeah, I will listen to Monira's answer, but the rest of you are not. I hope that you're not sitting in the background doing nothing. Try to answer yourself with your own answer. All right, thumbs up. Um, so now I would like you to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Don't worry if I stop you. When time is up, I will let you know. All right?
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
please start.
now I'm going to talk about interest in our country. There are lots of historic areas, especially these areas located in Samarkand, Bukhara, Hiva, and our hometown also. And we can, if we visit to these places, we can witness lots of ancient buildings, and I can say that these places are so the most significant places in our country, because many tourists also visit to these places, and they can know about our history when they saw lots of ancient buildings. And after that, uh, if we um, if we go to these places with tourists, um, it's useful for ourselves also. And historical places are always bringing bring lots of experience of our history. And in my opinion, many people want to visit historical places, and because it was very interesting, amazing for me and for other people also. And we can see actually lots of these things are shown
Thank you.
in
Thank you.
our
Time is up.
history.
Thank you. That's it. Time's up. Thank you very much for your answer. So you said there are lots of interesting and historical places in the town where you live. Do you visit yourself those
Mhm.
places?
Yeah, definitely. I went 1 month ago these places, and that was a great experience for me, and
Okay.
it's also interesting. I knew lots of things.
Okay. Now let me ask you some questions related to part three. Before that, I want to get the question card and the piece and pencil back. Yeah, just collect it. Thank you. How do people in your country feel about protecting historic buildings?
For I
Uh,
couldn't get.
okay. The question is, how do people in
Hmm?
your country feel about protecting historic buildings?
Um, our societies people are so smart. For this reason, they understand because because if we protect these historical places or ancient ancient things, our in the future our generation can't uh, can't know about our about their history. For this reason, it's the most significant thing in our life, protecting historical places.
Okay. And do you think an area can benefit from having an interesting historic place locally? And I will repeat the question again. Do you think an area can benefit from having an interesting historic place locally? In what ways?
Mm, uh, in my opinion, uh, the historical places are can improve local people's knowledge also, and um, the the if local people have lots of opportunity for going to these places and learning our history. For this reason, I can say that it's a um, good good opportunity for them.
Okay. And my next question is, what do you think will happen to historic places or buildings in the future?
Um, if we, as I mentioned before, if we protect them in the future, also our children also will witness these kind of interesting historical places, and they will know um, our past, and it will be very useful for them.
Hmm.
Mm, that's all.
All right. Okay, now let's talk about a subject, history subject teaching at school. Okay. Um, how were you taught history when you were at school?
Can you repeat? I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Now we're talking about a subject. Uh, you know, there is a subject called history. Yes, at school.
Yeah.
And how were you taught history when you were at school?
At school, I was not interested in learning history,
Hmm. Um,
but our would attract to this subject, that was a great opportunity for my classmates also. After this teaching, after when I went to high school, I had not lots of problems with history.
Okay. Feel like we've got a problem with internet over there, or I don't know, with my computer. I think we can finish our speaking test right here.